There's my boy Virgil. He wants to ask y'all to do something.
Press the subscribe button and the notifications bell right below this video.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Please subscribe, like, and share. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Hopefully everybody's doing well. And today I want to talk about a few things about a few newcomers coming to the Philippines. You know, the Philippines, it's a developing country. And there's a few things you need to be made aware of. Now, I'm kind of a semi-prepper, if you want to call it that. You know, I always like keeping, especially in drinking water, we keep, I think we got 12 containers now. We just bought 3 more extras. Because the people that deliver, sometimes they're a little slow about delivering, so that way we got water on hand. And it's cheap, it's inexpensive. It depends where you live out here in the Philippines. Here we're lucky, roughly 25 pesos delivery. That's delivered. And what is that? Roughly 50 cents, something like that. Per container. That's 5 gallon. In a common term here, they call them gallons. But we know what they are. That's one item that you should keep on hand, you know. But we keep enough to supply our drinking needs and cooking needs for a minimum of a week. And I do back up things like our water source for showering and so forth and laundry. Not only do I have the well that I drilled a few months back, it's also got a hand pump on it for the worst case scenario. Now, most of y'all, when you come here, you're going to be renting a place, so that won't apply. But it will make you aware that you can have water shortages, now, which I've experienced since I've been here in the Philippines. You know, I've lived in upper end subdivisions, medium subdivisions, and it's all been the same, a problem with water supply. And it can be disturbing. No, it went there for years. I didn't get to experience a real shower at home. Have to use the bucket. Now, to be honest with you, I'm one of those people who really hate taking a bucket shower. I like a regular shower on me, period. And I never had hot water at home until I built this house. Now, the main reason I got hot water here, to be honest with you, is mainly for the last part of December and early part of January, because it gets pretty cold here if you've been in the Philippines a long time. It will get down into the mid-60s, even just a little lower, maybe even in the low 60s during that time frame. And if you've been here a while, that's cold. That's the main reason I ended up getting hot water here. Now, food supply, I recommend always have extra on hand, especially of items that you really like. I keep extra coffee, naturally, just in case there's no stock. And that's a common thing here in the Philippines. You'll hear that word, and when you first hear it, you're going to be shocked at why no stock. But over time, you get accustomed to it. Then you start keeping items that you enjoy when you see them. Now, we do keep extra soap, stuff like that on hand, toothpaste, things of that nature, and shampoo, especially my shampoo, because sometimes it's no stock. I usually Clear brand, for a specific reason, because it happens to keep my privates from having the itchy syndrome. After 40 years of being aggravated with it and countless doctor visits and pharmacies and whatever and different kinds of cures, something that simple takes care of it. I've not been disturbed with it for over 12 years now. So, which I did a video on that, I think, a while back. But that's the one thing we keep on hand. That's another reason we bought our deep freeze too, because, you know, there's times that certain items in the meat category get scarce. You know, depending on where you live at, you know, but trying to make you aware that you need to be kind of like a semi-prepper, you know, be prepared for no stock, you know, and not having something. Also, depending on where you live at, you get used to brownouts. That's something very common in the Philippines. Now, there are areas that don't experience it as much, but in general, especially where I live, it's a common thing. And everybody knows that I've been tinkering with solar and getting ready to expand my system. So, and for a couple of reasons, not but just because of the brownouts, it's getting expensive. I mean, we got 2 months in a row, back to back, sizable increase. And, so that's another reason for my solar investment. And always set aside some funds for medical issues. Personally, we do that, and it's not enough, really, I'll be honest with you. We just don't have enough in our reserve. Reason for that is because with inflation here, it has narrowed our capability of setting aside some extra funds. And that's an issue in itself. Now, you can get medical insurance here if you so desire. It's available. There are several companies, but they're expensive. If you're on a single income like I am, it's actually out of my reach, because it would take so much of our income that it'd be hard to live. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not going to lie about it. And also, most of those insurances, even though they are good from what I understand, from what I've read, other people have it, the biggest issue is not every hospital will accept it as payment. You have to pay up front and file your own claim. So, be aware of that. If you're on, like me, Social Security, Medicare does not work here. It's useless. It only works stateside or in a territory. Just let you be aware of that. Now, if you're not in a reasonable physical state, if you got health issues like diabetes, heart condition, things of that nature, and you don't have the funds to take care of yourself and live in a major city where they have those facilities, my advice, don't come. You need to stay home. Because it can be life-threatening. And matter of fact, I have read where a younger guy with those issues had just passed away. And that's a sad feeling. Because, you know, this is, like I said, it's a developing country, so you got to be aware of these things. Now, don't have those major issues. I do go on an annual basis, have blood work done. It's affordable, and it's time for me to do it again. To make sure I don't have diabetes and other issues. I do that because on both sides of my family, the majority of my family are diabetics. So you need to be made aware of these things. Always keep extra things on hand that you so desire. I mean, now we buy like bread, we freeze it. Because there's times that you can't get what I call, what most people call sliced bread, sandwich bread. And no stock. You would think there'd be plenty of it. But we have run across it. So, and also it keeps our trips down too. Because we buy enough to where we don't have to run out every few days just to get bread. That helps with some of the expenses. Like a lot of things that we freeze to keep from making those extra trips out, so we can have a little extra money to do something else. Because it does cost to travel. Even though it's not that far, that's an expense that you can trim down to where you can have a little extra money to do different things. That's another thing you need to be. If you live in a city and you're within walking distance of things, it won't matter because of walking. Well, it's a health benefit. Now I'm trying to think of some other things that you must be aware of. And if you want to live in the city, one of the things that I always did, even though I never had any issues, I never carried large amounts of money on me. I only carried what I could afford to lose. In the worst case scenario, if I was to get a pickpocket or whatever, or even held up, I'm not going to give my life away over a few pesos. Now, your major documents, like your passport and stuff like that, have a secure place at home or wherever you're living to keep it. I don't recommend carrying it with you. Keep copies. There for a long time, I only carried copies of my IDs and so forth, except for a driver's license. If you drive, you must have those on hand. You can't have just a copy. You got to have them on hand. Even though I kept a copy at home, I still do. Just in case I was to lose my driver's license, I got something, and have them replaced. And getting them replaced here is a little different too, by the way. You'll have to go to an attorney and file for an affidavit of lost. And I think you even have to do a police report on it. I'm not 100% sure because I've never done it, but it seems like I've read that. And then you can file for a new license. I can't always remember everything. Forgive me for that. That's part of getting a little older, I guess. But folks, I want you to enjoy your time if you come here. And hopefully you enjoy it at the max like I do. I enjoy my life here. I really do. So, folks, stay tuned, stay close. And I really appreciate you taking your time out to watch. If you don't mind, please subscribe, like, and share.